Hi, welcome back to my channel. So we've talked about not owning things that you don't need. So what happens when you need something for a second or for a second is kidogo time. But what happens when you just need something momentarily and you don't need it for a long time? What do you do? How do you consume this thing, or how do you get use out of this thing without necessarily buying it? Or how do you consume things a little bit more sustainably? So this video is just about talking about how you can own things or use things more sustainably. So number one is to borrow. Borrowing is kind of frowned upon in the African community. I have had people say that they wouldn't want to borrow things. It's embarrassing to borrow. Borrowing does come with its various connotations, but for me, I really believe that if I have an item that I don't need to use all the time, but I need to use sometimes, and I know someone who has it, it makes more sense for me to borrow that person. I'll give an example. In my house, I have maximum 10 cups, and I feel like they're even in the excess. Are they 10? Yeah, they're about 10 cups and they're in the excess. So I don't need more cups. So if I have guests, or if I have maybe 20 guests and I need more cups or more mugs, what I'm going to do is not buy more mugs because I don't have the space to store 20 mugs. I'm going to borrow. And I'm always telling my mom that she should be prepared, because if that should ever happen, it hasn't happened in a year, and I don't think it's going to happen in this next year. But if that should happen, I will for sure borrow her mugs or anything else that I feel like I need to borrow. So this can go from one thing to the next. It can be mugs, it can be tools. I do a lot of DIYs, and sometimes I just don't have all the tools that I need. And if I knew someone who did, and if they don't mind lending me their stuff, I would borrow. Of course, there has to be a level of understanding between you and the person that you borrow, but I feel like that's one sustainable way to use something without having to buy it. Another sustainable way to own things is to thrift. Thrifting is really, really big in Kenya. I don't know about other countries in Africa, but thrifting is quite big in Kenya. And sometimes you get pre-loved items, not only clothes, but even home decor items, at a really good price and in really good condition. And I feel like that's one sustainable way to own items. However, I feel like you can fall into a thrift trap, but that's a story for another video. This is just basically borrowing, but you pay when you borrow. People rent various things. They rent out tools, they rent out cars, they rent out their homes. That's how I assume Airbnbs came to happen, because this is just someone's home and they're saying, hey, I don't have any use for this particular room, so you can use it and then you pay me. So that's a sustainable way of consuming space or consuming something without actually having to own it. Another way to own something or to buy something more sustainably is to swap items. You can swap items between friends, between you and your friends that you don't need or want anymore. And sometimes you'd find that something that doesn't suit you actually suits your friend. You might have gotten a piece, or you might have come across a piece or an item. Let's not talk about pieces. I realize I talk about clothes a lot, but you might come across an item. It's really nice, but you realize that it doesn't work for you. But your friend sees it and they have use for it and they actually like it. And so one thing you can do there is to swap that item for another one, so both of you can go home happy and you don't have something in your space that you don't use. So that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and see you in the next one. Bye.